Hey man, are we winning? Hear me out. Are we winning? It feels like maybe a tide has turned, and winning might be the wrong way to say it, but it's possible the tide has turned. All right, I was looking at the numbers today. I'm talking about the Second Amendment, obviously, and I know it's hard to feel like we're winning our God-given right to keep and bear arms. What George Washington said was the birthright of the American male to possess the arms of the infantry. When I think it was yesterday, Biden announced his gun safety plans, and he's trying to regulate ghost guns, to get rid of the pistol braces, and there was something else. And then he, of course, appointed a moron to run the ATF, but it's not like the ATF hasn't had morons running it before. Anyway, so I know after all that, it's like, are we winning? Could we be winning? Ooh, they'll never let us know we're winning, but there's a chance we're making headway. I did a little quick research before I came out here. Of course, you've all heard about, you all know. Before we get going, Jimmy D, I got something for you, brother. You ready? Sit down. I know. I don't want you to fall because you're, shocked. Blood sugar's a little low. You bent over to play with the grandbaby, and you got stood up and got a head rush, and this could be the last little thing that knocks you over. So deep breath. Sit down. Check your blood pressure. All right, here we go. You ready, Jimmy D? I did it. I'm upgrading the 410 brake action. We're going to talk about this more later, but I just went and got it today, and I wanted Jimmy to. He was very, very, very upset with me when I let it be known that Mariah's home defense weapon was a brake action 410 shotgun. He almost unsubscribed from the channel. So we're going to upgrade. Now I just got to find some ammunition for it. Jeez, I want to try to get some of that low recoil stuff for her. Otherwise, she's not going to shoot it or train. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Although I did my little part for the Second Amendment today. I've also ordered a rifle for the boys so we can start training the younger ones. Anyway, although they're doing pretty well on their own, it looks like. Okay, so how could we possibly be winning? So first off, the Democrats do not want to touch, well, let me not say, the cunning Democrats don't want to touch gun control. They don't want to do it. Biden definitely doesn't want to do it. He feels like he's being forced into it by all of their shootings that are so conveniently happening for them again, as if on cue. Never, well, I mean, I understand it, but it's hard to explain. He didn't want to mess with it. They got midterms coming up. They're already going to be hard. He didn't want to freak anybody out, and they forced him into it. And the fact that they don't want to do it tells you right there that they think it's a losing issue. But there's some other things to consider. We all know about the gun scarcity we've had over the last year, ammo scarcity. I was looking for shells for this right before I came out here. I don't have a 12. This is the first 12 gauge I've owned in years. So, y'all hate on me. In August of last year, now this was reported in August. So these numbers are actually from as late as they could be as July. So basically halfway through the year last year, okay, don't overdo it. You can say hi. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay. So basically around July of last year, they had sold like 17 million firearms and 5 million new gun owners. 5 million new gun owners. Now, that's a huge deal in a country as closely as divided as we are, in and of by itself. When you buy a firearm, frequently you get an NRA membership too, with some manufacturers. But you've kind of declared that you've accepted some ideals that we would consider, conservative, whatever that means anymore. Responsibility for your own safety, willingness to, I don't have to tell you, men, there's going to be 800 of you watch this, and every single one of you believes what I believe, most likely. So 5 million new people declared themselves, even if they wouldn't articulate this themselves, 5 million new people said, oh, no, I've got to be responsible for my own safety and security. That is huge. Just to have 5 million people say they don't necessarily trust the government to completely take care of them anymore. Whole crew's out. But what's really interesting is who these people are. 58% of them are African American. Boom. That is awesome. We just have to convince like 10 to 15% of African Americans of conservative ideals, and we can save this thing for generations. So when we see of these 5 million new gun owners, 58% of them are African Americans. That's huge. Now 40% of all of them are also female. So a large segment of those 5 million, and by the way, this was just through July, all right? And this was before stimulus checks came out. This was before the holiday season. This was basically half a year. And I can't find numbers easily for the second half of the year. I'm not necessarily saying it doubled, although I have heard anecdotally 8 million by the end of the year. I can't find any sources for that. But through July, 5 million new gun owners, 58% African American, 40% women. So there's going to be a large percentage of African American women in those 5 million new gun owners, and that's interesting. Traditionally African American women are the least likely group to be convinced of conservative ideals, and so it would be wonderful if we could reach them, because when we're talking about Candace Owens and Condoleezza Rice type level. When we can reach them, we get some amazing women. So it would be great if we could reach more of them. But those are the people least likely to be reached by conservative ideals. But even so, black working class men, black working men, white working class women, this is a big deal. And 5 million people who got firearms for the first time in their last year might be a significant portion of people who are willing to vote their gun ownership, who will now support firearms rights, even if they don't vote Republican, because who cares, Republicans aren't conservative. But so now do we have like a several million strong contingent of gun-friendly people in the Democrat Party? That'd be huge. I mean, if within their own party guns weren't a big issue anymore, then gun control would be almost completely off the table. And it really sounds like that, their leadership, their elites, don't want to mess with it. These 3 things that Biden did, any gun restriction is terrible. I'm not telling you to breathe a sigh of relief, and I'm not saying stop fighting. I'm not saying it's all clear, go about your business. We have to fight tooth and nail, because they still do want them. But what they did, those 3 things they did were weak compared to what they want to do. Now, there's still too much. Any restriction is too much. But, I mean, we're worried about AR-15 bans. We're worried about confiscations. No, they are doing red flag laws too. They're going to do model red flag laws for states to follow, and red flag laws are egregious. They're bad. We've seen several instances where family members. The one I always think of is the one in Maryland, where this 18-year-old niece just started going to college and got radicalized, came back and decided her Trump-supporting uncle shouldn't have guns, and turned him in under a red flag thing and said he was dangerous. And so the cops went to get his guns, and he rightfully resisted them and he died. That girl killed her uncle under a red flag law because she was a stupid, immature, I don't have words for that. I'll start swearing. Stupid, petty, vicious, mean little, I swear words is all I have. So red flag laws are bad. But that being said, now, so I'm not telling you to relax, to breathe a sigh of relief. Now may be the time for a big, strong push. Now may be the time for us to realize that we have, for the first time in generations, possibly, there's been a momentum change. the gun grabbers don't have momentum right now, and now would be a really good time for a counter offensive. Unfortunately, the NRA is on its back heels, although they also have a lot of new members, a shocking number of new members. And if they could get their shit wired together, it'd be good to have them back in the fight. Because say what you want about them, they were able to marshal a lot of people all at once, and that's the most important thing. The more people you can get moving in one direction at one time, the better off it is. And the NRA was very good at that, even if they weren't actually all that good at gun rights. And none of these other groups have seemed to get the traction that the NRA did. All right, man. Like I said, I'm not saying the fight is over. I'm not saying breathe a sigh of relief. I'm saying there has been a momentum shift, and we need to take advantage of it. We need to be more vocal. We need to be not strident assholes, but we need to be a little louder. We need to be a little more visible. And we need to be emboldened by this change. We need to reach out to these people. And look, it's probably not guys like me that need to do it, because these aren't, guys like me have owned firearms for, I'm 45 now, my whole life. My dad got me my first gun at 16, or maybe even 15, I don't remember. And he always had them in the house and all this stuff. I don't know that I can talk to these new black female gun owners and roll them over the rest of the way into being Second Amendment supporters. Not just single women with some insecurities who have a revolver now in the house. That's a great first step, but now we need to take these people and turn them into Second Amendment supporters, Second Amendment absolutists. And guys like me probably aren't the ones to do that. We're true believers. We're wild-eyed, crazed fanatics who could possibly turn off as many people as we try. That's turned into a 12-minute video again. Dadgummit. Anyway, there you go, man. It's just a little food for thought. If you've got a chance to preach the gospel of the Second Amendment, I would encourage you to do so. I think we have some opportunities. We appreciate you. Thank you.